Thank you,
Yaniv.
thank you. Yeah, so let me just share my screen again, just a second. I'm sharing my screen. This is it, and thank you, sharing again. Perfect. Are you able to see my screen, Valon?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so in today's session, let's start right into it. We will start our agenda for today's session is, just a sec. Okay, so in today's session, Sean, my good friend, and I will walk you through and show you how Microsoft Defender for Threat Intelligence help you to use intelligence to build an early warning system for threat. We will take you to a journey and we will discuss how you as the customer, you can use the same raw intelligence that we use internally in Microsoft to get ahead of threat. We will touch and show examples on how our Finnish intelligence available to understand adversaries and how they evolve. And how all this fantastic offering is bound natively into our bigger Microsoft SIEM and XDR stories. And of course, we are like demo guys and real hands-on keyboard. We will show you two exciting demos in the end that will wrap up all the nice things that we show you. So let's get right into it and we will discuss. First of all, I want to discuss context, where we are placed in the bigger Microsoft story. So as one of the largest cloud service provider in the world, we are defending all the time, of course, on our services. Because of that, we know how hard it is to stay on top of and ahead of the active threats, and of course, we want to give it back to our customers. So we understand attacker and the new level and the skills and the automation that they are evolving, and of course, their technique. So they are evolving it faster we haven't seen in the past. For your security team, taking action on threads, so it needs to be shorter than ever. And of course, all begin with visibility. So if we know and look on this kill chain, Microsoft is operate very well on this from firewall to inside. We have, of course, good story about the XDR and the SIEM. What Defender for Threat Intelligence and Risk IQ, this is like the former startup that Microsoft acquired, we are giving you very good visibility on what happened before the firewall. We are tracking the two-step of the reconnaissance and the setup and weaponization, and we are looking to the internet in more proactive way and tracking actors basically on how they purchase infrastructure. We are tracking if they are buying a new domain with type-coded domain name. And we take all this intelligence and basically update our defensive system and make you be more proactive. And our defensive system can be our XDR and SIEM, but it also can be our security posture management, because if we know that attacker operate in specific and influence specific CVE or vulnerability, we can prioritize the recommendation or the hygiene that we are giving. So this is a great visibility till Defender for TI announced. Microsoft doesn't have this visibility on the outside. Anything to add, Sean? I missed something?
Not on my side, Yaniv.
Cool. Okay, so threat intelligence is a foundation of to build the organization defense. It helps us combat threats like ransomware, phishkit, and other known one, and it's built natively into all our products like the SIEM and XDR. And we will show you also intention how we're going to expand it in more and more product. Sean will show you very good demo on the Sentinel better together. So our aspiration is to use the threat intelligence as the glue that connecting between our product. I will touch a lot in this session about the raw intelligent and the finished intelligent, so we will discuss it a lot. Okay, so how we are doing it, and this is important slide because it will discuss about our discovery process. So first things, we are operate on a vast number of web crawlers. Web crawlers, like, you know, internet provider, we are basically crawling the internet on a daily basis. And how we are doing it? We have what we call headless browser. We act like a real user in the internet. We are clicking so many clicks on the page, and we are collecting the insight that getting from these clicks. So this is one thing that we are doing. We have concept of crawlers and mini crawlers. We are getting the banner back from the crawler, and based on this information, we are entering into our database. This is one aspect how we get our intelligence. The other thing is we are scanning, of course, all the IPv4 space with known ports. We also have a number of passive DNS sensors that located all over the world that help us to gain more information and historical information that we capture. And we also have some partnership with other partners that help us to collect certificate information, who is information, CVE, open source intelligence, and all this goodness. Basically, we are entering into this area that is just disappeared. Here it is. And we are building on top of it with AI and machine learning. We are making sense of this information, basically making connection and context with all this information to be able to build what we call the internet graph. And the internet graph is the infrastructure chaining between all the data that we collected that align to a specific actor or specific vulnerability that we are collecting. And from this internet graph, we are creating two aspects, the raw intelligence and the finished intelligence. And I will discuss in more details in the next slide about what is raw and finished TI. So, and this is it. So finished threat intelligence is basically the face of the internet graph that I just mentioned in a sense of articles, in a sense of Intel profile, in a sense of the tooling of the actors. And all of it is happening not only from the internet graph, but also from our researcher team. As you can see, we have more than 8,000 researchers that know to make logic from this data that we are collecting. So this is the finished intelligence. You can retrieve it from MDTI portal. We of course have a better integration with our products. In the raw intelligent part, this is, we love to call it like the encyclopedia of threads. We will give you like a option to interact with the internet graph, to ask questions. You can start from a specific IP, or you can ask from a specific domain and look 360 degrees on top of this entity and check the data that we collected, the certificate that is relevant, and you will be able to create your own TI based on this information. So this is the two notion, the finished intelligence and the raw intelligence, super critical to understanding how the product works. Okay, next thing, let's progress. So even before I will review these amazing numbers that we are discussing, I want to highlight one point that we just announced. So Microsoft lately, like in RSA, changed the way that the taxonomy, basically, how we track and name actors that we are tracking. And we move from element, nature element, into weather events. And just a small secret, one of the reasons that we move from element to a weather event is because we ran out of the element in the nature. So just showing you how crazy this area. So we are showing you here part of the finished intelligent offering that we have in our product. So we have more than 300 unique threat actors. We are tracking nation state actors. We are tracking ransomware group. and this is like the taxonomy or the group that we are clustered together. And we will show you when we will discuss Intel Profile, a super important feature in the product. We will show you how we bundle it and how we help you to consume it via your industry or your country that you operate. So I think, Sean, this is your part. Please, do you want to take control?
Yes, I shall. And what I must say is that was a very great introduction, Yaniv. I think it's always good to understand the concept of why threat intelligence, and how you explained it from the matrix perspective was quite unique. Now, if you think about it in terms of threat intelligence, people use it for a variety of different scenarios, right? Whether it's to enhance their detection, to enhance how they enrich different incidents, and basically improving key elements of the mean time to respond and the mean time to acknowledge different threats. And that's essentially the nature of some of the new features that we essentially came up with during Microsoft Secure, which just recently happened. As I stated, just to narrow down the different areas, I'd like to put it in specific focus areas. The first area is the first-party integration. And here we're looking at the Microsoft Sentinel environment, the M365 Defender environment, and talking about how do we define different integrations across the board that are powered by this incredible tool that's known as Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence. The next area is a new feature that we're bringing to the fray. This is one of the most requested features that we had by our customers in a previous life when it used to be RiskIQ, and our existing customers as now. This is known as detonation intelligence. The ability to get a response off of malicious URLs and file hashes is what we're bringing to the fray. Fourth, we have our API, which we are basically pushing out to enhance our scale approach. And
Hi,
also
Sean, sorry to interrupt. Are you
Yep.
trying to share? Because I don't see any share on your side.
Yes, I'm sharing.
Can
Yaniv,
you retry it again? Yeah. Or Yaniv.
Yaniv, just share. We'll use your screen. Sorry about that. I really thought it was sharing.
No worries at all. No worries at all. We're just going through some fun stuff here.
Yes.
Okay, now Yaniv is sharing and we're good to go.
Great, thanks for that, Yaniv. As I've stated, we've talked through all the areas of the first-party integration of Sentinel and M365. We talked a bit about detonation intelligence. And as I've stated, we are now, our API is now publicly available to be used by our customers for automation and scalability. Last but not least is the Intel profiles that Yaniv mentioned. And this is Microsoft providing its own threat intelligence in terms of existing threat actor groups and tools, and allowing you to gain more information in regards to these threat actors, what are the TTPs they leverage, but most importantly, the IOCs they provide as well. Switching gears, let's move in towards the next stage to talk about the integration with Sentinel. Super excited about this one. We have a couple of features which we have announced here, and being a Sentinel user and practitioner, I'm super happy about this, right? The first thing that we have is the data connector, allowing you to pull in feeds to be used within your Sentinel environment. We'll talk more about that. Secondly, we have the Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence Analytic rule to allow you ways in terms of how you can increase your detection processes. We have the API, which is a core element of funding the last feature, which is the enrichment playbooks. We know we have lots of threat intelligence, and we want to enable our Sentinel users the ability to enrich different incidents by leveraging our playbooks. Switching gears, let's go towards the data connector. Yaniv?
Sean, before we switch to the data connector, we know that we have some confusion or question around what is the difference between the connector and the analytic rule. I just want to know if you will touch it in the coming slides.
Yes, I will actually touch that essentially in the coming slides. We'll show the differences between the two and basically highlight areas in terms of when you can use the different areas as well.
Okay.
So trust me, we're capturing that.
Now I can see.
No worries. Great.
Go ahead.
Great stuff. The first one is the data connector, and very simple in the traditional sense. We are allowing you to connect towards MDTI as a data source and bring the feeds from MDTI. Now, the feeds that we are looking at are your MDTI OSINT IOCs and your honeypot indicators. And similar to how it is as a traditional sense, when you bring in the feeds, they will be published on the threat intelligence indicator table and also will be available on the threat intelligence blade. Good news that I have for our customers, even if you are not an MDTI premium license user, you are able to basically import these feeds directly into your Sentinel environment at no cost in relation towards MDTI. Yes, there's a caveat. These are feeds that are going towards a log analytics table. They are costs in regards towards storage and ingestion. However, specifically towards MDTI, there are no additional costs. Now, as we bring in these feeds, you can use them for a variety of different scenarios, right? Whether it's creating your custom analytic rules, leveraging the inbuilt TI mapping rules, your hunting, empowering your investigation. All of this is available to help improve how you do your detection processes and your hunting processes as well. Let's move over towards the next feature, which is the analytics rule. As it was mentioned by Yaniv, this is also a new feature, and this is a built-in analytic rule that centrally works as the following. We are able to match the customer event data with the high fidelity threat intelligence data that we have within MDTI. Now, how does it work? These are your events, these are our feeds in the backend. If there's any match, an alert and an incident is actually created, and that specific IOC is imported towards the threat intelligence indicator table and also available on the threat intelligence blade. And while you're there, you'll be able to see an incident that actually that's generated and shows you why the incident has been created, if it's a specific IOC, if it was found within an article, and even giving you the ability to investigate that process within the MDTI workbench. There is a caveat. You're able to do this based off of specific sources. Your Ceph, your DNS, syslog, Office, and Azure activity. ASIM support will be coming from a roadmap perspective in the future. And in this specific area, we have different feeds, right? The feeds that are brought in are the Mystic Nation State IOCs and the Sonar IOCs. Yaniv, I don't know if you wanted to add anything on this.
No. So as you mentioned, we have some sources that is only available for detection, and beside enable the rule, and of course ingested the logs that Sean just mentioned, you don't need to do anything. You will have an incident if, of course, we have a match with a link to MDTI article. And the article itself, the URL is super important because you can zoom out based on the article, navigate to MDTI portal, and see the context and the full story of the attack. And you will start from atomic detection to get context on the full attack. So the URL of the article to navigate to MDTI, super important concept. And I move into the next slide. Thanks.
Thanks, Yaniv. Great. Now, the third feature in regards towards our Sentinel integration is our Sentinel playbooks. Now, this is basically covering our enrichment use case, and we've made it very simple for you. All you need to do as a Sentinel user is go towards our Microsoft Sentinel Content Hub blade, search for Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, and you will be surfaced with this defined solution. Within this solution, we have three key playbooks. The automated triage playbook, which essentially runs entities that have been generated from an incident against our reputational endpoint. And based off of the response, if it is malicious, it will automatically triage the incident. What do I mean by that? If we run an IP against our reputational endpoint, it's malicious, we'll immediately increase the severity, provide a tagging of malicious towards it, and set the incident towards active. The next playbook which we have is the reputational intel playbook. And one of the key aspects is we run the entity against our reputational endpoint, come up with a reputational scoring in regards towards the entity. But most importantly, we also tell you as to why the reputational scoring is as is. And we also run it in terms of matching those IOCs against our threat actor groups, which we'll be talking about a bit later. Last but not least, we have the web components enrichment. And in very simple terms, it's just telling you the underlying infrastructure of the specific entities that you've identified within your incident. And the beauty is we have a demo that will be showcasing all these features in the next few. With that, let's go towards the Venn diagram and show the differences and similarities.
Okay. And more come, yeah, more to come. Tracker, DNS, cookies. So CXC team working super hard to create you more content and more playbooks.
Yes. Great. So if you could switch to the next slide. For those who are, yes, thanks, I can see it. For those that were asking in terms of what are the differences and similarities, this basically captures what you're looking for. Now it depends on what use case you'd want to leverage as a customer. If you want to bring in the full feeds, the data connector is for you. It has specific IOCs, which are the honeypot IOCs, which we talked about, and the threat intelligence rule is for specific matching, but it has also specific IOCs that are actually populated when a match essentially occurs. The commonality against both of them is that they're free of charge and come at no extra cost to be used.
One point to mention, Sean, if I may, for the connector itself, the use case that it's also open is hunting, because you will be able to use the raw intelligence to look on your historical data, but the threat analytics itself is only evaluate the logs that it's entering to your SIEM and doing a matching when they enter. So yeah.
That's correct. Great. So let's move over towards the next feature, which is the interoperability with Microsoft 365 Defender. Yaniv?
I switch it.
All right. So essentially what we're providing here is the ability for MDTI licensed users that also have access towards the Defender portal, gaining the visibility of the powerful threat intelligence that we have within MDTI, and leveraging it hand in hand with the advanced XDR functionality of MDTI, of M365 Defender. We want to enable our users a quick, easy way to access information of threat actor groups, understand information of threats, basically enhance and actually pivot in towards advanced investigation processes as well. In terms of the features that we're looking at here is we have the new threat intelligence navigation pane. We have an Intel Explorer that allows you to pivot onto different specific data points based off of internet data. And last but not least, we have the Intel profiles also available through M365 Defender that Yaniv will be taking us through. Let's switch and go on towards the Intel Explorer just to see how it would look like. Yaniv?
Yeah, in the meantime, until the slide will switch, this also show aspiration in our roadmap, how we are going to integrate more and more with the XDR story.
That is correct. As you can actually see, you get a very similar experience with the MDTI workbench. Your search, your featured articles, and your overall articles capability are actually available here. And through that, you're able to search the internet data, pivot, and go towards different features, get visibility of the articles, more information in regards to what they entail, and actually drill in a bit more. If you could move over towards the next slide, it will actually show you how we have a similar experience towards the workbench. As you can actually see on the right, we go put in an IP, and as you search, it gives you a summary capturing the similar capabilities. If it's reputational scoring, the rationale as to why, drilling in towards an analyst insights, and if it's found within any intelligence articles, Intel profiles, you get a similar experience. On top of that, you're able to pivot onto different data sets, whether it's your resolutions, your WHOIS information, your trackers, your components, etc. That experience is maintained with this interoperability with M365 Defender.
Now, one question before the next slide. So me as the E5 customer, when I open security.microsoft.com, you highlight this view, yeah? Should I see it? What is the experience to me as an E5 customer without MDTI license?
you should be able to see the threat intelligence navigation pane, but only the threat analytics. Licensed users will be surfaced with the Intel Profiles and Intel Explorer tab. I don't know if you're able to magnify just to showcase that element for them.
No. Perfect. I even from the exciting, I moved to the previous slide. So let me move to the next one. Yes, this is the one. Go ahead.
Great. So this feature just highlights what's available across both areas. M365 Defender core functionality, it's your Intel Explorer and your Intel Profiles. Licenses are required for you to gain visibility for that. Microsoft Sentinel, the 4 features that we talked about. What's free is the data connector and analytics. What you require a license and the API is the MDTI playbooks. Okay. Moving forward towards the next feature.
Okay, detonation.
This is a new feature. I think I talked about it, right? One of our most highly requested features by our customers. Detonation intelligence basically focuses on providing search capabilities for file hashes and malicious URLs within MDTI. Essentially, as you search, it will be able to give you more or less a verdict and also provide the associated metadata in relation towards your search. Now, the use cases that we're looking at here are very simple. One, you have an analyst, a security responder, etc., and they need to find visibility of a suspicious file. They obtain the hash and put that hash details in towards the MDTI workbench and click on search. A detonation is then ensued, and then you're provided with defined information, right? This could be reputational scoring, basically telling you whether or not it's malicious or not. And on top of that, you have the associated metadata that is provided through static and dynamic analysis, allowing you to get more information in regards towards that. Similarly towards that, if you have your full URL within your threat hunting, your incident response processes, you're able to take the full URL, put it in towards the MDTI workbench, click on search, and it will actually detonate the information telling you the reputational scoring, the rationale as to why, if it's actually malicious or suspicious, and the associated metadata. What you also get is a defined detonation analysis that basically captures motion such as screenshots. So for our customers who want to gain more information towards suspicious URLs within the environment, this is something that they can easily leverage. Do you have any questions on this one, Yaniv?
Yes, you read my mind. So you explained me before the session that when you enter a URL or a hash into the detonation, that is not appear in our database. What will be the experience, and if you as Microsoft have some roadmap item regarding this capability?
So the TI that we are providing is the detonation that we're providing is public TI, right? Essentially, the functionality that you're looking for is live detonation. That's currently not available, but it is within our roadmap to actually be provided in hopefully in the near future.
I see. Okay, thanks for the clarification. Now I can move to the next one.
Great.
API. Tell me about API.
Yes. API is amazing. I think this is one of the most important areas some of our customers would be gravitating to, right? Because we're looking at enrichment use case as VADS threat hunting scenarios. And essentially, we have basically provided access towards our API. And we have a myriad of different data sets that allow our customers to drive different scenarios. This can be from enrichment use cases in regards to incidents, where one is able to build logic apps for enrichment based off of entities found within the incident, similar to what we have within our playbooks. You can also be very creative in terms of creating custom views, such as workbooks that you can use for easily, ease of hunting, a seamless experience from a security responder perspective. I know that some of the key capabilities ASA CXC has actually created. and it's available for our customers to use. But most importantly, if we have customers that are leveraging Jupyter notebooks for their threat hunting, the API actually gives them access to be able to achieve some of those use cases. On top of that, API is available through Microsoft Graph API, and we have a litany of different data sets ranging from host and IP address data, passive DNS, reverse DNS, articles, Intel profiles, reputation, components, cookies, trackers. All of these are available to be used for our customers against first-party, third-party, threat hunting, enrichment use cases across the board. It's really exciting. Yeah.
And Sean, I know that you touched it a bit on the licensing, but do I need a special license when I use API?
This is correct. So you do need an API license to be able to access this. As of now, for our customers who want to try this out, we have a 90-day trial, which you can go on your M365 Defender portal, go towards your purchase service, select your M365, your Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, and it should surface you with options to purchase a premium trial and an add-on trial for the API.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Great.
So I think that this is my part. Thank you, Sean. Amazing as always. We will see you in the end of the session with the demo. So I will take and briefly discuss about the Intel profile and how we can begin like being more proactive and how we can track actor and group. So what is Intel profile? What are Intel profile? So Intel profile is helping us to understand the adversary. So it's like the first step for keeping our organization safe. So who is behind the cyber attack? How they operate? How their infrastructure look like, the tactic that they are using, the IOC that is relevant to the Intel profile, the actor itself. I think that today we have more than 90 Intel profiles updating in a daily basis. So the Intel profile has two different sections. The actor itself, like again 360 around a specific actor, and you can see here in the picture the old name of the actors. We changed them, but we also keep the aliases, like if you want to track them, and everything here is available via the UI and also API. So let's move to drill down into the Intel profile, and Sean, feel free to interrupt me like I interrupted you. If you have any question, something, let me know. So this is the threat actor profiles. Again, as I mentioned, showing you the CVE that is relevant to the actor, showing you the sponsor state, the targets, and I will show it in a demo, so I will very briefly review this slide. Super important feature, one of our premium feature in the product, and it's updated on a daily basis. The other aspect of the Intel profile is the tooling. So which tools we are seeing? This can be a commercial tool, this can be a proprietary tools that the actors are using to conduct attacks. In this tool, in this page, we are seeing exploit that is relevant to the tools, some indicator that we are seeing in this tool, and again, it's make you be more proactive on defending and against these tools and actors. So demo times, guys, we talk too much.
Yaniv?
Yes, Sean.
Yeah, before we run, I think one of the most common questions when you talk about threat actor groups is, are they aligned towards the MITRE ATT&CK framework? Is this something that you can speak about?
Yes, so of course, we have the TTPs that align to each and every groups that allow us to see, of course, how they align to MITRE and together with the targeting and the industry that they are operating, we can be more proactive and prioritize also the detection or the hunting rule or even the hygiene, the CSPM that we are prioritizing in our organization based on the actors that is targeting our industry. So this story or this relationship between actors, TTPs, and prioritization is super helpful and critical here.
Great.
Demo time. Okay, in the first demo, I will take you to a story, and everything is started from a partner tip. Me as a CTI guy, I'm using my free time in Twitter, but not reading about politics, but reading about activists and actors. In one of my journey, I found a tweet regarding vulnerability, remote code execution vulnerability that targeting manage engine. And I know in my organization, we have manage engine. So it's like highlight and I need to operate. So what I'm doing, let me just switch to the browser and take you to MDTI. So even before the manage engine, let's do some review about the thing that Sean mentioned. I'm now in Microsoft security.microsoft.com. Ignore this funky URL. And I'm expanding the threat intelligence. I'm seeing all the menu that Sean just explained, the threat analytics that is not specifically relevant to MDTI, but it's more the M365 side. And the new aspect, I'm seeing the Intel profile and the Intel Explorer. So I know that someone mentioned Manage Engine. And let me see that I'm typing correctly because it's hard to me to type and talk. So I'm writing in the encyclopedia of TI, the Manage Engine, and I'm seeing all the results that MDTI and Microsoft know about this component. Immediately, the result come back and I see one Intel profile that is relevant and 14 articles. Remember, article, this is the Finnish intelligence, the story, the article around specific campaign, specific vulnerability. So let me dive into the one that is published 10 days ago that discussed about mean sandstorm that using the exploit on the manage engine. So I'm opening the article and I'm seeing, in this case, I don't have indicator that is relevant to this vulnerability, but I can read about this campaign and I'm reading about some notion that Microsoft researcher observed that this group, mean sandstorm, is exploiting the CVE, the same CVE that I read about in Twitter. So I'm saying mean sandstorm, Intel profile, let me read about them. So I'm clicking on the mean sandstorm, I'm navigated into the Intel profile section, and now I have the 360 around this group with all these aliases that this group operate. I can read and see who is. I understand that this is like a nation state sponsor, the country that they are operating. I see the targets, super important, the metadata, who they are targeting, and this is also available via API, so you can build some offering around it. And I see the TTPs. Remember, Sean asked me about MITRE, so let me scroll down and see all these TTPs that this group is operate, the tactic and the alignment to MITRE, the exploitation. So I have nicely mapping to MITRE here, and also some indicator that is relevant to them. So this is all the indicator that this group operate, and I can also update my defense system against this group. One thing that we are highlighting is the active CVEs that this group is targeting. And when I press the CVE that is relevant, I immediately jump to the CVE page, and I'm seeing the scoring. I see the affected component, the specific version that we are targeting in the manage engine vulnerability, and some related articles. So this is like an example and how we started from a partner tip into a notion, and we reach to CVE, and then we can search it against our vulnerability management, against our CSPM product, to be able to see if we are protected or not. So this was the demo. Back to you, Sean. Are you able to present your screen?
I should be able, and I must say, very great demo, Yaniv. I think just showing how you navigate from a social site directly in terms of getting visibility of Intel profiles, associated CVEs was quite great. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Now, I just want to show what we have in regards towards the Sentinel integration. Remember, I mentioned 4 key capabilities. 3 are specifically core, and these are the ones that we're going to talk about with. The first one that we have is the Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence Data Connector. To get access towards it is very simple. Move over towards the Data Connector blade, type in Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, and you should be surfaced with this information. All you need to do is click on the Open Connector page. As you do that, it will give you information as to the different IOCs that are being brought in. You have a selection of selecting the different IOCs that you want to bring in, right? You can do almost a day old, a week old, a month, or all that are essentially available. And for you, from a functionality perspective, all you're required to do is click on Connect, and it will immediately start to bring in the feeds directly in towards your Microsoft Sentinel workspace. Now, as I click on towards Connect, those IOCs are available on your threat intelligence plate. As you can actually see on this specific workspace, if I go on towards the threat intelligence plate, I select the source of Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence. I am surfaced with the different IOCs from Defender Threat Intelligence. Now, the beauty about this is once they're available here, they're also basically available on your threat intelligence indicator table on your log analytics workspace. As you can see, simple KQL query that's basically highlighting the different IOCs that we have been pulling directly from our connector. Now, the beauty is once I have all this data in my workspace, I can use it against my detection rules. Now, I believe Yaniv mentioned this in passing as I was explaining it, right? If these IOCs are available in your log analytics workspace, specifically the threat intelligence indicator table, you can use them for TI mapping rules and also creation of your custom detection rules, right? So in the case you want to map our indicators against any specific environment, whether it's first party, third party, AWS, your Palo Alto, your sign-in, Office activity, GitHub, that's all possible due to the fact that you've already connected the feeds and it should be able to generate an incident. The next element is the Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence Analytics rule. As we stated here, in this rule, we have a caveat of the data sources that you can match against, right? We have our Ceph, we have our DNS, syslog, Office activity, amongst other, and those are the existing logs, and we have additional logs that essentially will be coming in the future. As I stated, for you to get access towards this, go towards the analytics blade, go on towards your rule templates, just type Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence, and you should be surfaced with this. There's nothing that is required in regards to customization. All you'll need to do is bring in the logs, click on create the rule, and then essentially review and create the rule, and it will automatically do the matching by itself. You don't have to customize any KQL queries for you to visualize the detections that come from this specific analytic rule. Last but not least, we have the incident process that is actually enriched through the MDTI playbooks. And for you to get visibility of this, I've created an IOC, I've created an incident with an existing IOC. In this case, we have 185.82.217.3, which is an IP. And essentially what I want to do is run the playbooks that are available to be used by our customers for MDTI against this specific entity. To do that, all I need to do is go towards the incident actions and select the playbooks that I would want to run to basically enrich this specific entity. Now, as I had mentioned, we have 3 specific playbooks: the automated triage, the Intel reputation, and the web components. As you can actually see, they're loading. Just give it a second. Should be there. A little prayer to the demo gods. Just 1 second.
And we can always blame networking against Azure Portal.
Well, there's always that. So I did figure. Oh, there it goes. So we have the automated triage, we have the Intel reputation, and we have the data web components. As mentioned by Yaniv, we're also going to be having other data sets also available to be used by our users, and they are actually going to be published on the Content Hub solution, so you should be able to gain access towards this. Now, in simple actions, I'm going to run the automated triage, I'm going to run the web components, and also the Intel reputation. And what it should do is it should basically get that entity and run it against our endpoints and visualize the data for me based off of what it sees on MDTI as a comment. And all I need to do is go towards the activity log, click on towards that. And as you can actually see, the first playbook, which is the MDTI data web components, gives me views of the underlying infrastructure. As you can actually see, we have servers, I'm seeing remote access, server modules, email servers, etc. Of note, I see there's a command and control server that's, likening it to Cobalt Strike. As you can actually see in Yaniv's example earlier, these are one of the tools that we have as part of our Intel profiles. The other playbook which we have is the Intel reputation. As you can actually, it gets the entity, runs it against our reputational endpoint. And in this case, we've classified it as malicious. And the beauty about it, it tells us why. We see it's part of a block list. As it can actually see, it's part of Cobalt Strike. There's another threat actor we're seeing here. And on top of that, it tells us the ASN is also exhibiting suspicious behavior. Last but not least is the automated triage. So on top of us just giving visibility of the reputational endpoint, it runs other defined activities. What do I mean by this? If you look at the severity of the incident, it's at a medium severity. And in case we said the automated triage, if it finds any malicious entity, it will automatically increase the severity. So to get visibility of that, I'll just click on the refresh button. And what you've actually seen is the severity has been increased towards high. It's been tagged with a malicious tag, and the status of the incident is also active. And these are different creative ways that you can actually use to triage incidents based off of the intelligence that you've actually pulled from MDTI, whether it's assigning it towards a specific group, raising a ticket with your service desk solution, or any other defined motions. You can leverage the concept of the automated triage playbook to expand towards different scenarios. And with those few words, that's the end of my demo. I think we can open it up for any queries.
Well, thank you, Yaniv and Sean. Yes, just going over here to see if we have, although the team tackled a lot of incoming questions, and I know there were some licensing questions as usual, and they were handled. So the detonation part. How is the detonation TI for hash and the URL different from the existing sandbox capabilities in MDE, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint?
I will take it, Sean. So okay, so both of them use the same. Let's start with what is the same. Both of them use the same infrastructure behind the scene. So in MDTI, you have the option to do a free search on a file and a hash, and it will be expanded to more use cases around the type that we will support, and it's more a freestyle search against the data that you are having. It's not limited to a specific file that is part of an incident or devices. So the entry point is a bit different, and soon with the new capability that we will give to ability to submit and use also API, we will have other differences between the two of them. Good questions.
Okay, thank you. And this one is between the nuances of Sentinel TI and MDTI. So the question goes like, we don't have the Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence Preview connector. Hold on a second.
You should have. You should have, I think. Yeah.
Basically, I'm trying to find the question. Basically, they wanted to check the differences between the Sentinel TI that they currently have versus this one.
John, you want to take it, or I will?
I think just take that one, yeah.
Okay, so in the last secure, like in end of the month, we rebranded the connector and the TI in Sentinel to become MDTI. So today we have one connector that is in one click bring you all Microsoft TI into Sentinel, and the naming is Microsoft Threat Intelligent connector. In Sentinel, you have other type of connector like stick syntax and also connector that is based on security graph that allow you to bring third-party TI for your own custom TI. But the connector that is bringing the IOC from Microsoft has one name and is branded to Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligent connector. So it's only one. It's the same.
Okay, thank you for that. What are the specific feeds that are imported by the MDTI connector and the specific feeds that are matched by the TI analytics rule? Are there different feeds?
It's a different feed. Yes, Sean, please.
It's different feeds, and I'm happy to share that, right? So in the data connector, we have the MDTI OSINT IOCs and the Mystic honeypot indicators. Now, on the analytics rule, we have the Mystic nation state IOCs and the SONA IOCs. They're different feeds, and each of them are basically leveraging them across the board. This was also shown in the Venn diagram that I provided, which I'll actually share as well to be used for the different folks as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Apparently, there's a partner wondering about if there is an API license options for partners other than the 90-day trial you mentioned.
As of now, the only API availability is the 90-day trial. It should be able to be used for partners, but for the person that asked that specific question, I'd be interested to understand their use case and potentially how they would want to achieve it. But the only available API is that can be used is the one on trial for 90 days at the moment.
I see. Okay, thank you for that. I think we have concluded all questions here. Thank you again, Sean and Yaniv, for being our guest today and for sharing this excellent session. And thank you to the rest of the team who helped answering the questions. And to all the listeners out there on the line, if you're someone who wishes to aid in the protection of the world from cyber threats and desires to have a say in shaping our strategies, blueprints, and recommendations, then we invite you to become part of our security community. Together, we can make a global impact. So join us at aka.ms/security community. This is also where you'll find and be notified about the upcoming webinars, events, and other announcements. And please take a minute submitting your webinar feedback at aka.ms/security webinars feedback. And for those of you who may have additional questions on the topic we just covered or other product related questions, please feel free to raise them on our Microsoft Defender for TI community forum. The short link for that is aka.ms/Microsoft Defender TI community. I want to thank all of you for being a part of our community and for joining us on these webinars. We hope to see you next time. Goodbye.